So, friends, the brain riddle is finally solved. What to do to develop not just memory, to remember your name, surname, patronymic, where you live, phone number, tax identification number, passport number, what your dog cat is called, but also to memorably remember chemical, physical formulas, Mendeleev's table. All this finally is available to us. That is, now we can compete with artificial intelligence by developing our brain. After we master this exercise with you today, your brain will be able to remember information as quickly as possible, as long as possible, and practically develop photographic memory. At least that's what my physics teacher promised me, who shared this exercise with our entire class in the 8th grade. And now, thanks to this, half of our class are Nobel laureates, the other half are currently work for the government, and I became a doctor, do videos on YouTube. I didn't do these exercises regularly, that's why. But now I'll start doing them, and we'll also make some kind of Nobel discovery with you. So, friends, I already see that want to start this exercise. It is quite effective when performed regularly. And we will greatly enhance the effect of this exercise because we will prepare fertile soil. If you want to plant, for example, an apple or say a cherry somewhere in the desert, will it grow? Of course not. What will grow there? Some kind of cactus at best, a date palm. But we need a luxurious apple tree. For this, our soil must be prepared. We will prepare it with you using fertilization. We will improve it with blood supply. Our brain deserves more blood supply. And now the effect from the exercise, from the effect of improving blood supply, it will bring you success. A full set of exercises, diagnostics, and recovery of your body, your muscles, is now available specifically for you at the link right here in the description. What goes in there? All exercises go in there, starting from the very tip of your hair, ending with your toes. All exercises are broken down step by step for all muscles. How to train muscles, how to find out which ones are working, which ones are not, changing the motor stereotype, how to learn to walk, stand, lie, sit correctly. All exercises are thoroughly explained. For 3 years, they all gathered together, and now they are finally ready for you to finally get off the couch and start doing them. They are already waiting for you, warm and cozy, at the link in the description. I will tell you about this method a little later, because first we need to create conditions for it to work. But it is accessible to everyone. Whether you're an old lady or a youngster, anyone can master this method and it will be effective, even if you can't remember the name of your dog, for example. Don't remember where you went, whether you turned off the TV or not. You'll remember everything thanks to this method. But it's much more effective if you create the right conditions. The thing is, our brain needs a constant blood flow. But it also needs it to circulate unimpededly, to have a full outflow, because as much blood as came to our head, so much should leave too. Therefore, there should be no mechanical obstacles in the way. As many of us already know, 2 main vascular systems supply our brain. This is the carotid artery, the common carotid artery. It divides into the external and internal carotid artery and the vertebral artery. Inside the skull, all this unites, connects with the help of so-called anastomoses. This is the connection of arteries. Thanks to these anastomoses, if the circulation of blood stops for some reason, for example, atherosclerosis, or you choke someone or choke yourself, for example, it's not recommended. It's dangerous. At this moment, blood supply can, if you're lucky, be compensated by other arteries. For example, if the carotid is blocked, the vertebral compensates for it. If the vertebral is blocked, the internal carotid intensifies the blood supply in the best-case scenario. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But if the carotid artery is blocked, if you press on it, you fall asleep. So every artery has a vein next to it, through which blood drains from the brain. Here's the jugular vein, internal and external. And as for the vertebral artery, next to it in the vertebral canal passes the vertebral vein. What is the peculiarity of the vertebral artery? The unique feature of the anatomical structure of the organism. Look, the vertebral artery enters a special hole. All these cervical vertebrae, they have a special hole for the vertebral artery in which it successfully passes in its channel. And here, forming a bend on the first vertebra, it enters the skull, left and right arteries join together and form the basilar artery, which then further connects in the skull. It connects with the continuation of the carotid artery. This is the path our blood takes with every heartbeat, carrying our erythrocytes to our brain, which are eager to finally share their oxygen so our neurons can work and remember. 2 plus 2 is 4. We still remember it thanks to this brain cells and neurons connecting with each other. If they would have stopped connecting, you'd forget everything. Who am I? Where am I? I remember nothing. Vertebral artery. Next to it, in the same vertebral canal, is also a vertebral vein. Right here. Let's look at this photograph. Here it goes, our vertebral artery. Here, it's shadowed by the vertebrae, we can't see it. At the level of the second cervical vertebra, here it is slightly visible on the side. Here it is in the canal. It also goes in the canal, yes. Here it makes a bend and goes into the skull. What is this formation such as these here, you ask? This is a group of suboccipital muscles. They are also known as short neck flexors. If there are short ones, there must be long ones. Correct? Long neck flexors is also the name of a group of muscles. Each of them has its own name. Here, for example, we have two straight muscles. This is the big one that's bigger. Here it is, the big straight muscle. And this, as you've already guessed it, as an experienced subscriber who has already subscribed, put a couple of likes, is already writing comments, making some remarks. Someone is saying the opposite. You're saying everything right? Anyway, you already know what this is. This is the small one and the big one. These are rectus capitis muscles, anterior and posterior. It means there are front ones and back ones. The front ones are located in front. They also perform their function. Who watched last year what I did? I increased the pressure on myself, and then exactly these front ones, these straight muscles of the head, I strained them, and the pressure decreased. It's a miracle. It's interesting. If you're interested, take a look, and I'll do it too. And what's here right next to them? These are the oblique muscles of the abdomen. Oh, not the abdomen, the oblique muscles of the head, upper and lower oblique muscles. Here, up and down. This is our spinal growth of the second vertebra. It starts at the transverse process of the first vertebra, attaches to it. And I drew this straight muscle from the other side so there would be no confusion. And you see the vertebral artery needs to overcome this intertwining, this labyrinth. There are conditions for it to be pinched. And even more condition for the vertebral vein to be pinched, which goes straight along with the artery. We will mark the vein with a blue color. We always mark it in blue, and today we will also mark it in blue. The blood there is not blue, but it is accepted in our medicine community to mark veins with blue color. You should just accept this. So a vein, of course, will constrict much faster than an artery because the artery has a thicker wall. It's very difficult to compress it. That's why everything starts with the fact that during a spasm, a venous stasis will occur in these muscles. If the vein is constricted, then the blood cannot recede. It starts to recede through some other paths. That's how, if the blood doesn't go through one artery, it will go through another. The venous blood does the same thing. If it's blocked in one place, it can go through another. And we need to create ideal conditions so that nothing obstructs the flow and outflow of blood in our brain. For this, we need to bring all these places where this can happen into an ideal state. In order for the exercise I'm about to tell you about to work wonderfully, thanks to which you will remember all the physics formulas again, we need to be in a good state. So, friends, why does a spasm of these short flexors occur? There are larger muscles, like the long neck extensor here. The first reason is their weakness. The second reason is that the large muscles stop working and the small muscles become overloaded. The second reason is the incorrect position of the head, already associated with the weakness of the long flexors of the neck, during which the shortening of the scalene muscles occurred. Why did the scalene muscles become short? The sternocleidomastoid muscle has weakened. Who has it weakened? Almost everyone, because it doesn't work much in life. Here it is in front. This is the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Find your photo when you're still in school or college. Look at the thickness of your neck. And now, when you are 70, for example, or 30, your neck most likely over time became thinner, thinner, and thinner. Well, like a goose has a long neck. In general, the neck muscles must definitely be kept in tone. With age, they decrease in volume, become fibrous, inelastic. The muscles mentioned are the long neck flexor, sternocleidomastoid, and the muscles that lift the scapula. And now, in order not to allow disruption of the blood supply to all this, I show what to do with it. What first? Shall we put strain on the muscles or relax these muscles? What shall we figure out? What do you think? I think you prefer relaxing, it seems to me. I look at you and I don't see that you're ready to strain. So let's relax you first. For muscle relaxation, see what we have to help with relaxation, but we will be toning them too. The thing is, look, we have this long muscle here, the neck flexor, which should work well. It starts from the fifth vertebra, here. That's a group of these muscles. And to tone the muscle, we need exactly these places, the place of attachment of this muscle, to bring it a little into tone. After this, the muscle will start to work better. For this, we use such different devices. Here is this ball for massage. We will work on this place. You can directly work on this whole part. That is, in order for our neck muscles to work, we need to massage this part, not just the neck. That's good too. But more attention needs to be paid to this part. Or we do it with such a more precise action. Let's start. I see you've already finished your meal and drink. So take this ball and put it between, well, how do we call this place? The upper part of the chest department of the spine, between the shoulder blade, exactly this part, the area where the rhomboid muscle is also located. You put the ball here, and what we do, start right from the top and find the painful parts that are there, and there are quite a lot of them. As soon as you find a painful part, a sensitive one, stop and just press on it with the ball and wait until it becomes less painful. It may not completely pass, but it will become less. It takes about 1 minute to 2 minutes. After you're done with one point, go a little lower. The next point is a few centimeters lower. You should work it out too. First, we do it just by pressure. That is, you press on the muscle and wait until it relaxes. At this moment, no one forbids you, for example, to look out the window or glance on your TV or be on your phone. Whatever you want. If it fell, it's not a problem. Anyway, here's another massager, a more precise one. It can be attached to your wall like this. And here you work more precisely. That's too high, you see? We need it lower. So, you've set it up, and you're working more precisely now. You need to do this both from the right and from the left. You work out all these muscles from both sides. That is, look, all these places, right up to the fifth vertebra. And it's even better if you work through this entire zone directly. And what's next? Now, for those who like to relax, here's what's next. This part of the suboccipital muscles, it not only affects blood supply, but also has a reflexive effect on vision. It's connected with the eye movement muscles. There's even such a thing, look, like a test to understand how much it's connected. You can put your fingers here, on the occiput, under the occipital area. And now try to look to the right, to the left, up, down. If your fingers are sensitive enough, if they are not thickened from heavy physical work, you will feel that there is also a certain movement there. All these muscles are slightly strained. And now what can we do? Take the same ball or massage tool and fix it higher. And exactly this area, where we have long neck flexors, you can also work out in the same way. You can do this standing, you can do this lying down. Here too, over the course of a minute, you work all this out. It is precisely this place between the occiput and the first vertebra that you are working out. Right here. Where do you need to get here? We have a straight muscle here, the back one, the big one, then the small one, right here, the oblique one, but don't touch this one. Of course, you won't hit each one separately, but already acting on this area, you will affect all these muscles. If they are tense, and you will make them relax in this way. So why does this happen? So you've pressed on the muscle, right? Why do you need to relax at this moment? This method is called ischemic compression. What exactly is happening technically at this moment? When you press on the muscle, small blood vessels are covered, not the spinal artery that we are freeing, but the vessels that are inside the muscle. And due to ischemia, this spasmed part of the muscle, ischemia means lack of oxygen. Under this effect, it loses its tone, and the muscles relax. That's how it works. Also, here is the central part where we have ligamentum nuchae. We already had a separate video about it. We looked at how it differs in animals from people. And this ligamentum nuchae, it also has a great significance, so we can work on it with you today. Here it is in the center. You can do this with your hands. You make a movement up and down like this with your fingers, then right, left. You can watch a video dedicated to it for more details. It's a recent one. Here it's not about going deep, but more about directly affecting the skin, the surface of the tissue. So you need to place it on top and below it. So, friends, we've relaxed a bit. Now it's time to put on some pressure. How do we put strain on these muscles? First, the sternocleidomastoid muscle. For it, of course, the weight of the head is already good, already enough for its training. The exercise is a static one. Hold the head in a static position. Not everyone can do it. 20 seconds is the norm. If you do less, train more, if more, you can do it easily. You can do the right head separately. If you turn to the left will be more stressed. The main thing is not to throw your head back. Here you just need to hold the weight of your head so that in static, your sternocleidomastoid muscle, which weakens every day if you do not load it, is restored. The second variant is in motion. Turn your head, lift it, lower it. Lift it, lower it. Here it's already in dynamics. It's working for us. That is, don't worry that your neck will become too thick. This exercise will not cause a strong hypertrophy of the muscles. It will only improve the blood supply to the sternocleidomastoid muscle. In statics, you can do 10 seconds per one set 3 times. And if in dynamics, then from 5 to 10 repetitions per each set, 3 to 4 times. Now, the long neck extender. Take a pillow. Lie down on it. Again, the first exercise is for the beginners. Push down on your soft pillow with the back of your head. The neck flexor is now strained. Push, hold for 3 seconds, relax. Push again, hold for 3 seconds, relax. 10 repetitions. Now turn your head, push back, hold for 3 seconds, relax. From 5 to 10 repetitions on one side, and from 5 to 10 repetitions on the other side. Now, a more complex variant. One variant is lying down. Here you lean the back of your head on a pillow, but you now already use something denser, a blanket, for example. And you lift your shoulder blades up. Lean on your hands for extra support. Hold this position for 2-3 seconds and relax. Again, lift your shoulder blades up. Can you see mine right now? Anyway, I lift them up and then put them down. That's enough for training, for muscle recovery, so they can hold the weight of your head. Another option that can also be done during the day is with the use of hands. Here you don't press hard, just purr your hands on the back of your head, and from this position, you look down and look up. Look down, look up. Here too. This is an exercise where you can put more load on the right and left muscles. Here it's not just behind you, but your hand is now pressing on your head from a slightly different angle, like this. Do some movements in this direction, up and down. Your sternocleidomastoid muscle will also be working now, as well as your neck extensor, trapezius. Make movements to both sides. These are good for your training during the day. And this one is for when you already came home, ate, laid down, fell asleep, woke up, remembered you forgot to do this exercise, watched this video once again, remembered and did it. And now what do we have left? The musculus levator scapulae and the side muscles. Side muscles are comfortable to train, of course, lying on your side. So you lay on your side, stretch out your arm in front of you, look at your elbow, and from this position, you lift and lower your head. When you look at the elbow, this is the axis of the movement you get. In general, the angle of such a movement of the neck of the head that coincides with the axis of movement. Therefore, it's better to start the exercise from the joints. When you're not looking straight, but when your nose is slightly directed towards your elbow. After you're done with one side, do the same on the other side, just like I'm showing you, on both sides. And of course, the musculus levator scapulae. They didn't come up with a good name for it. That's why they named it that way. The good names ran out, so they left it as it is. It's called musculus levator scapulae. That's not Italian, that's Latin. Anyway, hands here, put them on the wall. Now, it will be different for everyone. Try different positions, both wider and tighter ones. Well, the hands should be placed as wide as your shoulders are, or a little wider. Now, lift both your shoulders. They should reach the highest point approximately in line with your shoulder. Now lower them down. Again, lift and lower. This is one of the most important exercises because this muscle tends to weaken with age. Practically nothing remains of it. A small thin hair instead of a strong muscle. So the shoulder drops, drops, drops. Like this. Lower, lower, and lower. It is drawn to the ground. But we won't let this happen, right? Yes. So, friends, I almost forgot that I promised to show you an exercise that develops the brain itself. But thanks to the fact that I did all these exercises, I remembered again because the brain worked again like a quantum computer. So, friends, look at what the physics teacher told us in secret, and now, thanks to this, half of our class are Nobel laureates, and the other half works in the government in Moscow. So look what you need to do. In general, when you have already come home, ate, watched TV, when you went to sleep, closed your eyes, all consciousness is already leaving you. You're thinking you'll wake up in the morning, open your eyes, and go to work again. Happy? No. At that moment, when your head touched your pillow, when you closed your eyes, at that moment, you need to remember all your life, starting from birth. No, I'm kidding. You just need to start remembering this day. For example, it's Monday evening. Well, yes, okay, now it's Friday. Let's make it Friday evening. So, you came home. You've worked all week. You're fresh. You've come home. You're going to bed thinking, if only the weekend would come quicker. I can't wait to go back to work. And at this moment, as soon as your eyes close, you start to remember this Friday from the morning in detail. How you woke up, how you got up, did your morning exercise, smiled happily, cleaned your teeth. Someone did, someone didn't. You went, for example, to have breakfast. You have to do it in detail. Try to remember your whole Friday life up to that moment, the moment when you went to bed. Instead of counting sheep or lambs to fall asleep, you need to do this. And thanks to this, what happens inside our brain? That is, we remember not some abstract events that happen somewhere there with someone. You remember your own life. And thanks to this, your neurons, with what they have already seen, begin to retain this information in themselves. The connection between them becomes stronger. Of course, you will probably fall asleep somewhere closer to lunch, that is, your memories will reach lunch and you will already turn off. But still, this will be useful. That is, thanks to this method, everything that you will have to remember later will be much better remembered because your brain will be constantly in tone. It will know that in the evening it will have to report to you. Once again, scroll through all this information. And so, you will be able to develop a photographic memory for yourself.